Hi, so let's start with the first activity, embellishing book pages. For this, you're going to just need an old book, something you really don't need anymore, you don't mind drawing on and tearing the pages out of. That's the first thing. Second thing is we're going to need pencil, biro, gel pen, something like that for mapping out and drawing with. I've just foraged around for equipment here. We've got coloured crayons, felt pens. Doesn't mean you have to have all these things, but if you can have some of them, that's handy. I've also popped out some watercolours, not essential, but if you want to use some, that's absolutely fine. If you are going to use paint, you might find that quite a fine brush is going to be best for what we'll be doing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is know that I haven't invented this activity. It's inspired by an artist called Tom Phillips, and I've got here just a couple of images of his work. Now, apparently, back in 1966, he went to a junk shop with a friend and chose a book called A Human Document, and he picked it out and his friend challenged him to make a piece of art on every page, which he amazingly did. Anyway, here are a few of the pages here to show you. So you can see that he's saved words and then he's more or less like creatively drawn all over the rest of it. Here's another one. This is lovely. This has got sort of like a sky. You can see he's blocked out most of the page but just left some words. I'll show you just another one here. This is another one, and in this one he's covered up a lot of the page as well. Okay. Now, in order to make a start, all you do is you tear a page out of the book. Give yourself a page. I've torn quite a few pages out because I've tackled them in lots of different approaches, because there'll be something in there that you will be able to do. Right, so the first thing is tear your page out, then get your pen or pencil, pen I like to be bold, pen, and highlight any words that you think, glasses needed, any words that you think are either conjuring up a picture or mean something to you. I'm looking at that and immediately I can see it says swimming underwater. I don't like swimming underwater personally, but it makes a lovely image. I can see that would suggest blue, bubbles. It might suggest images. So it's just things that may suggest images to you, things that you might be able to work with, even if it's just a hint of a mood or a colour or a shape. It's not critical. Anyway, so we've gone with swimming underwater there. The next thing to do, I've just drawn a box around it, as you can see. You can draw around quite a lot of the words if you like, but for the sake of this piece, I'll just go with that for the moment. The next thing we would do is you can then just start to draw and doodle on it with your pen. So swimming underwater to me suggests, I'll suggest the water, so I'm just going to draw wavy lines with my pen, up and around and over it. If you love drawing and you're really a great illustrator, you might spend some time looking for pictures of water, looking at different artists who've drawn water. David Hockney's done some beautiful water swimming pool pictures, some lovely ones, nice examples there. All I'm just doing, I'll just show you now, I've put some waves across here. So if you've got crayons available, you might want to pick out, say, I'm going to go for some blues here for speed, just to get you going. So then you can start to build behind the writing. So the writing shows up, I'm starting to put some colour behind it. Now if you're using crayons, it's quite nice not just to colour it in, but you can really make an effort to blend colours from one to another. So if I've got a lovely blue here, I might want to get all the way through to a green, make it feel really like I'm in the water, or at least going through some more interesting colour developments. If you work, instead of just like, you know, you're shading in sleet, diagonal shading, if you go around in a little circle, it's really much more effective to blend colour. So I'll go around in a circle, get lighter and lighter with my hand, and then again I'm going around in a circle, and if you go over and over, you can just see how the colours will blend really nicely together in a smooth way. So I can carry on decorating and embellishing that page with crayons. I'm going to start with crayons first. Once I started to put colour onto here, it doesn't stop me then going back on top of it, adding a little bit more pen work if that's what I'd like to do. I might even spot other words during the process that mean something to me, and I'll build on them. So I can carry on. You don't want to watch me sit and carry on and finish this, but what I have done, I'll do a few others for you whilst I was experimenting. So this is a piece, and the words I've picked out of here are looked at him in silence, chewing gum and corner of his mouth. And so I've just drawn a big silhouette of a guy there, worked into the background, and I've just done that using felt pen and a pen. I've got another one here, which the key word on this one was headache. And I could also see once I started working into it was orange. So I've done pattern making all over this, which to me suggests what a headache feels like. You can see you don't actually have to draw objects. You can draw patterns, lines, shapes, put colours down that just represent how the word feels. Here, this one, I really liked doing this one. And the word in the middle of that one was don't be silly. Now, these aren't finished, but I've just started. Don't be silly. I thought, why not? We can all be silly. So I've drawn something just silly, which is some wiggly arms, wiggly lines. And I've done this one using pencil crayons. You can see we're blending the colour again here. And this has got biro. It doesn't mean that I can't then put felt pen on here if I want to. Of course I can. So if I think I'll change the mood a little bit, I can get going with my felt pen and add some boldness, keeping my colours under control so I'm not going through the entire paint or colour rack. So I can start to just keep similar colours but with different materials and work those in. I've also started one which, you know, if you really love to illustrate carefully, pens and pencils, I'm not saying this is a careful illustration, but you'll understand what I mean. So this little one said, twist flowers and berries into thick strands. Well, that is so evocative of an image. So I've started just to draw some berries on there, suggested some strands. And these patches of colour here, they are collage. So I've just had a magazine and I've torn out bits of bright colour that I need. And, you know, instead of having to paint each one of these on, I've literally just torn them out, used my Pritt stick, bobbed them straight down. In addition to that, this is the only one that I've used any paint on. So if you want to use a little bit of watercolour or something, that's absolutely fine. But I would simply say, don't make the paper too wet because it can deteriorate. And there's one more there. This reminded me, I don't know why, but reminded me of my mum. So we've got the word sewing on there. And when I was younger, my mum spent a lot of time sewing with me. And so I thought about me and her. That represents us at the bottom. And then around the words, I've just started to draw patterns and doodle things that feel like patchwork. I saw another bit at the top that said a piece of string tied. So we've been round that and I've covered it in string. So basically, these are all starts that we've made and I can happily carry on with. If you think, I don't want to draw at all, but I still want to be creative, collage is the way forward. And this piece here, which has got the words the river, oh, thunderstorms, sky rolling mad purple and grey. We've got experiencing a dream highlighted up there. I've just been through a magazine and cut out some bold shapes that were then going to go together in quite a weird way. So I'm going to put a bit of blue on them. I can stick them down, just literally do the entire thing in collage. So I can start to introduce images to here which are quite strange and unusual. I can do my piece at the bottom, the river rolling. I've got a river rolling at the bottom, so I'm going to put a bit of, Pritt stick on these pieces. And all these bits of colour have just been cut out of magazines, nothing special, but they're just unusual, maybe unusual objects that wouldn't normally go together. Here's the river again. A bit more river at the base. And I've picked out of the magazine some purplesy pinks for the rolling sky and thunderstorms. As you're sticking on, you know, afterwards we can, sorry, you can see that now, we can just snip the edges off if the paper is too long. So we can start to see how a collage picture is actually quite fun to do. With that, I suppose I'll leave you to it. It would be lovely to see if you actually make and create some of these pages. And maybe you can email them to Yardley Arts and share them with us. Okay, so I hope that's something nice for you to get on with, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye then.